A while ago I was asked the question, are you happy? And I couldn't remember the last time that I've been asked that. My initial thought was, how are we defining happiness here? But I didn't want to turn it into that conversation, so I just quickly decided in my head that I define happy as going to bed at night with a good feeling in your belly and waking up in the morning with that same feeling. And so I answered and I said something like, yeah. I mean, life throws you curveballs, but I'm in a good place. I'm happy. And I left that conversation feeling curious about my own happiness and how and why it changes over time. How was it that a year ago I would have struggled to answer that question? Now I just want to quickly touch on something. If you're going through something deeply difficult, perhaps traumatic, such as a loss, you probably don't care for happiness right now. You just want to not feel miserable. You just want to feel normal, to function, to be able to get through the day. Personally, when I've gone through something like that, what's helped me has been giving things time and just being around loved ones. So if anyone watching this is going through it right now, just know that you'll be okay and you'll be happy again. It'll just be a different kind of happy. Now, the days following having been asked that question, I started paying more attention to how I was feeling in my day-to-day and what it was that was making me feel that way. I quickly realized that my happiness was a mix of things, big and small, things that are easy to implement and things that require work, things that are in my control and things that aren't. So starting with the simple fact that we're in July. In spring and in summer, everything just feels better, lighter, more colorful. The energy of the city is so different. Everything is just heightened. And it was almost like going to a concert. You've been looking forward to it for so long, and so is everyone else, and now you get to experience it together but apart. It's this collective sort of happiness. That's kind of how I view summer. Speaking of summer, walking in summer rain, wearing something light and not feeling cold. Unmatched. And also the fact that in summertime, a lot of people leave the city, so it's a lot quieter than it normally is, and it makes it feel like everything is just moving slower, and I appreciate that. Now, I wouldn't want to have it like that permanently because I enjoy the fast-paced busyness too, but it's a nice break. Waking up and having an obligation to something or someone greater than myself. To me, it gives life meaning, and to me, that obligation right now is my puppy. You know, he needs to be fed and taking outside, and it's the need to be needed. Waking up and getting to do this, you know, making videos, even 2-ish years later of doing this, it's surreal that this is the work that I get to do. It's one of the most fulfilling things that I've done. In my previous jobs, I always felt easily replaceable and disposable, and I mean, I was, and it just was not a good feeling. Now, there are going to be a lot of waking ups here, but waking up in a home that I own. You know, I think your living situation has a major impact on your mental health. Who you live with and where you live. Are the people that you live with disrupting your peace? Are you living alone and feeling lonely? How about the city or even the country that you live in? What are you surrounded by? Does walking outside the door feel good, or do you feel completely misplaced? You know, I really believe that even if everything else in life is going well, but you don't like coming home, or worse, you dread coming home, no doubt that that is going to affect your mental health. I wasn't really a morning walk type of person before I got a puppy, but now I don't know how I could go about my days without them. There is nothing quite as special as early city mornings. Going out before the streets fill up with people heading to work is like the calm before the storm, and it's just so serene. Now, a lot of the things that I mentioned and are going to mention are things that require money, and I'll say it even if some people think it's controversial. I believe without a doubt that money does buy happiness to some extent, or at the very least, it buys away a lot of stress and worries and inconveniences. 73% of Americans rank their finances as the #1 stress in their life, and I don't know about you, but I cannot recall a single time in my life where stress boosted my happiness, but I can remember plenty of times where it messed with it. And it's not just about the security and peace of mind that comes with that, although that is huge, but it's also about being able to treat the people that you love and to give back, as cliche as that sounds. But the joy that comes from that is just undeniable. And now, speaking of money, this year I've been making more of an effort to take charge of my finances and to cultivate healthy money habits. And this portion of the video is sponsored by Skillshare, the one subscription that I've gotten the most value out of for the past 3 years. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring creative classes for anyone who loves learning. I recently took a class called Modern Money Habits, 5 Steps to Build the Life You Want by Justin Bridges. So I did not initially start my Skillshare membership thinking I would take classes on finance, but when there are so many different classes to choose from, it just sparks curiosity. So for this class project, you're supposed to fill in an Excel spreadsheet to get a personal snapshot over your personal finances and consider things like what's your top money goals for next year and what's your dream for future you. To be honest, I kind of think that most things finance related are kind of boring, but they're important. You need to know this stuff. Luckily, you can also take this class or any class that you want because right now, Skillshare will give you a 30-day free trial if you use the link in my description box. There is so much value to gain, no commitment. Now, how is that for a smart financial decision? The more I think about the word happiness, another word keeps coming to mind, and that is freedom or liberation. So for example, I've been working on freeing myself from the emotional walls that I have put up. Now, this is not an easy one. You know, I think we all want to protect our hearts. There's always this fear of opening up to and being vulnerable to the wrong person or getting hurt, whether that is romantically or in your friend group or to anyone really. But finding the courage to let yourself feel all the things that you want to feel and to let it show and to then be accepted and appreciated for it and loved for it, it's quite possibly one of the most beautiful things. You know, hiding behind self-constructed walls may keep you safe, but it'll also keep you isolated. Speaking of being yourself, and this is going to sound very much like a quote that you put on your Facebook wall in 2011, but accepting myself for who I am and what I want and what I need. Just like many of you, I'm introverted and I like my alone time, and I don't feel the need to meet up with friends daily or even weekly. You know, I don't need a group of 20 people to brunch with on the weekends. It's just not a desire that I have. And yet, still, when I used to see other people doing that on social media, I would question myself, wondering if something was wrong with me for not wanting that. You know, as a 20-something girl, shouldn't I also want to be traveling with my girlfriends and going partying? And am I not living my life to the fullest because I'm not doing those things? I would think to myself. I started feeling FOMO for something that I didn't even want, which is really strange. But I have fully come to terms with the fact that it's just not me. It's simply not what I want. You know, I was putting this unnecessary pressure and expectations on myself that I did not even want to meet. Because even when I pushed myself to do those things that I thought I should be doing, it didn't feel good. Why? Because I was in the wrong room, expecting to feel satisfied. You know, one thing I would say for the younger folks, or for anyone really, is figure out what room that you want to be in and go there, regardless of what room other people in your school or whatever are going to. You know, I believe that being in the right room with the right people greatly contributes to overall happiness. Walt Whitman wrote, "Happiness, not in another place, but this place, not for another hour, but this hour." And as a chronic planner and risk to reward analysis in my personal life, I've notoriously tried to take control of the wind rather than simply see where it takes me. I think I've always had a hard time just letting things go and just letting things be. I think I have been more likely to ask myself the question, what if it doesn't work out, rather than what if it does work out? And it's made it difficult to just enjoy things. Like, you're almost scared to be happy because what if that happiness will be taken away from you? Or because you know it's about to end, like things like a trip or a concert. I'm still working on being able to be present and enjoying the now without the anxieties and worries and fears of what could happen or what may happen. And I do that by simply reminding myself of the whole, you know, don't worry, be happy sort of thing, which sounds so silly and even stupid for how simplified it makes out happiness to be. But then again, what is the alternative? Worry, be miserable? who wants to live by that? And now you know I like ending things with a good quote, so here's one that I have written down and that I keep going back to, and it is by Robin Hobb, and it goes, "Stop longing. You poison today's ease, reaching always for tomorrow."